Welcome to the Life on Purpose podcast, conversations that explore holistic health, intentional living, learning, and growing. I'm your host, Brandy Eilert. And now a word on our affiliate, Blue Apple, the experts in keeping produce fresh. As most of you probably noticed, I have not utilized ads up to this point. I've always said that if I were to ever incorporate ads into this podcast, it would be partnering with businesses or products I respect and actually use. That's where Blue Apple comes in. As you can probably guess, we try to stay as healthy as possible in our house, and that includes always having tons of fresh fruits and vegetables on hand at all times. But as I'm sure you are aware, these products can often go bad before you can even prepare or consume them. Blue Apple products exist to remedy this issue, particularly their Veggie Zips, my personal favorite, as my green beans were making a habit of dying a quick death in my fridge before discovering these products. The specifically designed U-Vent technology controls humidity, while the Hydroliner controls moisture. Then, throw in the Blue Apple itself, which absorbs ethylene gas, and you can extend the life of your produce up to 3 times longer, meaning those green beans can remain fresh and off their deathbeds until ready to prepare them. Sauteed in olive oil, garlic, salt and pepper, and cherry tomatoes, then simmered in chicken broth with a pinch of crushed red pepper. Get yours today for 10% off your first order with the code BRANDY10 at checkout and enjoy your produce longer. All right, welcome back to the Life on Purpose podcast, where we lean into life's hardest questions, pursue meaning over the finish line, and celebrate the transformations born out of struggle. Today's guest is William Person, a former bobsled athlete, a man who's experienced the hidden cost of high-impact sports, and someone now devoting his life to bringing awareness, treatment, and compassion to those suffering from brain injuries and CTE. William, gosh, that's just a brief kind of introduction, but welcome to the show. I am really looking forward to this conversation. I've talked to a lot of athletes over the years, but never a bobsled athlete.
Wow, it's not a ton of us out there, but yeah,
Yeah,
around.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, we're definitely around.
Yeah. So I want to start before we get into CTE, before we get into kind of, these effects that we see in these high impact sports. I want to talk about how, from early life, how did you even get into bobsledding? Where are you from? Where did this start?
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, the first thing that I want to say is I'm going to tell you guys a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of receipts. Everything I tell you is factual. There's no exaggerations. And the reason why I say that is because people kind of minimize what the brain damage is.
Sure.
But if you notice, the last probably 5 or 6 mass shootings were CTE related.
Right.
So between our veterans and some of our athletes who are struggling. So, and then for myself, I'm going to tell you the story. Like, I was in dementia and I found my way out of it. And like, people always so focused on the CTE, but like, we all have parents that are getting older who go into dementia.
Mm-hmm.
We have grandparents, and I think I found a way back because I did. I'm not special. Like, this is going on with a lot of athletes who are using the same program that I'm using. So just please stick with us, follow the journey, and
we will get there. We will absolutely get there. I think it's important to build up to that point to understand, especially for you in particular, bobsledding as a sport, because you hear a lot in the news about football and hockey and things like that.
Yeah.
Bobsledding, I would not say, is probably one of those things you hear a whole lot about. As far as kind of some of these high impact brain injuries. So let's start from the beginning. I want to hear about your career. You were on the USA bobsledding team, correct?
Yeah, for 9 years.
Okay, for 9 years. Where did this start for you? How did you get into bobsledding? Where are you from? Was it a popular sport back there?
Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, and there is no connection with bobsledding in St. Louis. like this amount, about like that. Yeah. No, I never dreamed of being on a bobsled team.
Yeah.
I tell you what, like, I can even take it a step further. On Saturday mornings, they always had this sporting thing going called the Wide World of Sports. That's what it was when I was a kid. And they showed the agony of defeat. And the agony of defeat was a guy on skis who wiped out. He's like, look like he broke every bone in his body.
Right.
And then you see a bobsled crash. So for me, like, bobsledding was not on the radar.
Right.
But I went
And
to,
not in St. Louis, certainly not.
especially in St. Louis, especially no. And so, matter of fact, I went to college in Utah. Yeah. And when I finished up college, I was the fastest American sprinter in training in the state of Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And these people called me. They was like, "Hey, there's going to be a tryout for the 2002 Winter Olympics. Why don't you come for the tryout?" And I was thinking, like, no, thank you. You know, I remember watching that crash, but at no point in time did I ever think that that was going to happen to me. You know, like I was going to be sitting where I'm sitting today.
So they asked you because you were so fast, they asked you to try out for a bobsled team because of the running portion of it, correct?
Running portion,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
correct.
All right. So again, I know nothing about bobsledding. There are 4 on a team, is that correct?
There's a 2-man team and there's a 4-man team. There's
Okay.
2 and 4. Yeah.
Okay. So there's one runner though.
No.
No, 2.
We're all runners. Even
All
my
runners.
even
Okay.
my driver. If my matter of fact, I actually made the national team because my driver at the Olympic trials wasn't running hard enough, and the coaches saw it.
Yeah.
And they was like, "Hey, that guy's pushing the sled by himself. We got to bring him up." And that's the only reason I made it onto the national team.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Again, I'm showing my
we should
complete
all be
bobsledding
runners.
ignorance.
No, no. And actually, that movie Cool Runnings, it's done a lot of damage over here too. Like,
really,
most people think like they keep thinking like we choreograph like because they had a scene where they sat in this bathtub. It was a bathtub.
Yes.
And they're doing this together. Like, that's not a thing.
That's not it.
That is not a thing. When we go down that track and you see us doing this, it's because the G forces have grabbed us.
Right.
And it's doing it for us. We don't have a choice.
So you're not choreographing it.
No, matter of fact, there's a part when you go through the pressure points, like, you know, you see the F-15 fighter jets, they fly like this and then they do those bank turns.
Yes.
Okay, so we do the same thing. So it produces a lot of G forces on the body and the brain.
Sure.
So when we do that, what people don't know is that we start snorting, like,
yeah,
like not on purpose. Like, it's going to do it for you.
Right. That's so there's a lot happening to your body during this sport that most people would not think of.
You wouldn't think it, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Back to your story. All right. So you were asked to try out in Utah because you were fast.
Yeah, and at that time I had just finished. I was doing football movies as well. Like I don't know if you know Jerry Maguire. I'm the guy who they put the uniform on, and you see him running down the field to look like an athlete. You know. Yeah. Because Cuba, like all those guys, you know, those guys weren't really, you know, athletes and stuff. So we just made them look really good. So I was doing. Yeah, and then also a huge part of this story is I wrote the first ever independent living transitional housing program for the state of Utah, and I opened it. And so like I had youth that came to my inpatient program and they lived there. Yeah. So when I started with Team USA, I was already open for like 2 years already. So
Sure. Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. So you obviously made the team and start competing. So you are a bobsled athlete for 9 years. So let's walk me through your career just a little bit.
Let me see. Where do you want to start at? Like my first. Okay, I'll tell you what. I did that audition. Went for the tryout. So I went for the tryout. I set a new record on the tryout. That was on a Wednesday. Yeah. I went to the bobsled track in Park City on that Sunday, and I wound up racing and winning a medal by that following Friday. So it was quick. It was like a whirlwind. It was like,
that is amazing. Yeah.
And NBC did cover that tryout, and they ran a story on me. Yeah. Well, 2 stories. They ran the first story was called "Go for the Gold." Yeah. And I've never seen it, and people have told me about it, but I've never seen it myself. But
that's interesting. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, and then once I tried, I couldn't find it. Like, but I looked many years later. Yeah, sure. And then I came back. Okay, then they ran a second story on me after I won the medal that week. And then it was it was new. You know, my track career was just ending. Yeah. And it was fun and different. So I wound up spending 9 years with those guys.
Sure. So tell me just a little bit, how do they create a team? Who are your teammates? What does that look like when you're creating a team? So you are a team of 4, correct?
Correct.
So how do y'all come together?
Well, usually most athletes we come together at these camps they have. They do recruiting all around the country. And so they'll do the recruiting, then we'll show up at the camps. And then, depending on how you do at the camp, then people start trying to select you. The drivers try to select you
Right.
to put together the best push team, because that driver is like, if we don't push him fast enough, he can't win the race. It's very hard to win a race.
Right.
So that start is so important. So we all actually come from different parts of the country, which is also a reason why the illnesses in the sport kind of progress, because like we always kind of suffered in silence in our own little corners, and we weren't sharing stories. Yeah. And then after every suicide, we kind of got together and was like, oh, our poor buddy. But then we would sit back and we wait. Then there was another suicide. And then some of them, like, they never even talked about. I found out by accident.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
So, the dangers of the sport, again, very obvious in football, very obvious in hockey. What are the dangers in bobsledding to where you're starting to discover and see these effects of traumatic brain injuries, CTE, etc.?
Well, one of the first injuries that I saw with one of my teammates, he was my driver. And we were at the training center, and we were getting ready for a race. And he was looking out the corner of his eye, and his eyes got stuck over there and started fluttering. Like, I was watching him do that for, like, I didn't say anything. I just kept watching him. And then I asked him, I said, hey, you okay? He was like, yeah. He said, I don't know. I've been doing that for a while. And that was one of the first symptoms I saw in someone else. But I wasn't quite sure, because I'm really still kind of new in the sport, and I hadn't seen.
How far in was this?
This
How
was
far
probably
into you're competing?
It was probably like year 4 for me.
Okay.
So I hadn't seen any effects in any other people.
Mm-hmm.
But there was let me see, who was the next one? Like, there were the red flags were on me though. Like, I had my first crash 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the opening ceremonies for Salt Lake City. And I had a really bad crash. Like, one of my guys was unconscious. I had vertigo. And it's kind of like, after that, I started to have this thing happen where, like, I wake up in the middle of the night and I have no idea where I'm at. Like, so I'll jump up, turn the lights on, and what I realized is, like, I'm looking around for the pictures that'll let me know kind of where I'm at in the world.
Right.
You know, all the pictures around the world, they just so different, you know, all the different cultures and stuff. So it'll kind of let me know where I'm at. But I rationalize it. I was like, you know what? I travel so much. I have such a great life that I don't know where I'm at. And so that was another.
So you're kind of making stories up to eliminate any fear that might be creeping in about damage.
Well, there was really no fears. Like, I just didn't connect those dots. Like,
Gotcha.
even when we'll get further in the story, when they got the symptoms were so extreme, I still didn't connect those dots. And it just, I'm as a mental health professional, like, I'm just like kicking myself right now.
Sure.
So.
Sure. I think it's hard when it's your own health. You know, it's really easy to be introspective and show a little bit of more awareness when it's someone else. So take me back to, again, what the physical dangers are. So you said you had a crash. What does that look like? What kind of speeds are we talking? What kind of jarring and all of that are we looking at here?
Well, there's a misconception. People, like, we crash and we get concussions when we crash. That's just evident.
Yeah.
But what I know now about the sport, there's a good chance every time I went down that track, I was getting a micro concussion. Because sometimes that ice is a little bit rough, so it's kind of like somebody shaking a baby.
Sure. Oh, so like shaking baby. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Extremely similar. It's just like, you know, and so when you do that, and like, you get out of that sled and your head is just like throbbing sometimes. Yeah. So that's one of the dangers. But the biggest danger, I believe, is we go down that track. See, the big concussions is going to make me go sit down or go lay down,
right,
and not do anything until I can, you know, kind of get back up and move again. But those little micro concussions, they doing the same damage, but your body's not realizing it. So you can kind of keep running around and keep jumping and doing the things you were doing. So you don't get the safety net of, you know.
Is that anything that's talked about when you're maybe entering the sport? Because I think, again, you know, there's other sports that you walk into knowing the risks. And as a parent of teenagers, I think about those things with my children and the sports that they play. And I think in general, there's a larger awareness now for the dangers of certain sports. But when you're walking into, because again, you were asked to try out, there was nothing that you really knew a whole lot about bobsledding at the time when you entered the sport.
Yeah.
Did anybody else who was working towards this and had intentionally kind of entered this sport, is there a lot of awareness in general for these kinds of dangers?
No, it's actually zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, that's the reason why I filed a class action against the Olympic team
Mm-hmm.
to force them to warn athletes before they get
Sure.
in the sled. Yeah, but they're still fighting me on the wording and what that really looks like, and they don't want to do it. But I kind of forcing their hand right now in
Sure.
courts.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
but it's sad I had to go that far to do that. Like it's something
Right.
you would think they would just do naturally on their own. We know the dangers. We're watching our friends die.
Right.
Why do you want to continue not warning people? Now, if people choose to still do the sport, then that's up to them. But they should know.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk about so you spent 9 years in this sport. Around year four, you said you started kind of noticing little things with
yeah,
teammates, and then a little bit with yourself. What was kind
yeah.
of your aha moment of, all right, this is really bad, something is really happening here?
Well, my girlfriend's from New York, and she's on the phone with her family. They got a really loving family. That's the best way I can put it. They talk on the phone a lot, and they talk so loud. Oh my God, they talk so loud. It was just killing me. And so during COVID, I found a little place for myself. And
Yeah.
before I knew what was going on, I found a place out in the middle of Missouri, a little small little lake house for myself because I was struggling. Like when I was walking, or if I'm just standing still, the ground in front of me was always kind of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, like I was so sick and I was, red flags were there, the symptoms were there, but I didn't connect them. I thought it was diabetes because I didn't have energy, right?
Okay.
So I go back to my house and my girlfriend's still in Los Angeles and I'm telling her, like, we have to probably break up. I can't take this noise. It's just too much. And then I'm looking at myself. I'm saying, how am I telling people to walk around the house quiet? So now I'm judging myself and I'm judging her at the same time. I can't figure out who's wrong here. So when I get back to the lake house, one of my teammates sends me an article called Sledhead written by the New York Times. And when I read it, like, I was like, oh God, thank you. All the symptoms miss me. And then I sent the
What were some
article.
of the symptoms? What were they listed?
Parkinson's. There's numerous suicide attempts. There was strokes. I believe there's some seizures, dementia, kind of what I was going through, memory loss, vertigo,
Sensitivity to noise and
migraines.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where I connected the dots. Like
Okay.
when I sent that same article I read, because I literally got on my knees and thank God, like thank you, man. I got like these symptoms miss me. I'm struggling with other things, but these symptoms miss me. When I sent the article to my girlfriend, she circled some stuff. And the first thing I saw was noise sensitivity. It was the
Yeah.
reason why we were splitting in the first place. And I went, oh my gosh. And I went back, I went down the list. I checked every box except Parkinson's, I believe. And
Really?
I went, oh my God, now this thing has a name. Yeah. Because one of my teammates had just called me, and I felt so guilty about him because, like, when I first left college, my first job was at this place. It was the only mental health facility west of the Mississippi River when it first opened up. So a lot of the extreme behaviors went there for
Hmm.
help. And so I'm working there, so I'm seeing all the disorders. I mean, every disorder, like even all the way up to the criminally insane are coming through for evaluations. We have people who had lobotomies still walking around back then. It's early 90s.
Hmm.
And so mental health
Wait, they
was
were
my
still doing lobotomies in the early 90s?
no, they weren't doing them, but those people were still alive.
Oh, gotcha. I was
Yeah,
like,
they were
wait
still
a
alive.
minute.
Yeah. They were
Okay.
doing some other weird things like the
I'm
electric
sure.
shock treatment. They was doing a lot of weird things
Yeah.
still, but lobotomies they weren't still doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that was my background. So one day one of my teammates called me and he like when I left Team USA, I moved to LA and I was writing. He wanted to be a writer, so he called me with these creative ideas. And this is pre-COVID when this happened.
Okay.
And I really just now figured out what was really going on, like over the last month or so, because now I'm
Yeah.
kind of forced to talk about it a little bit.
Right.
Before I just kind of buried it because I was embarrassed. Well, anyway, when he calls me, right, he's giving me these great ideas, And what I know now is his mind had slipped, but I didn't know that then. I thought it was just creative writing, you know. And so the very last time he called me, he was speaking some weird language or gibberish. I don't know what it was, and I just kept trying to ask him to repeat that. Like he got upset. He hung up the phone, and because mental health is my background, I'm going to save my buddy.
Right.
And I told myself that every single day I'm going to save him. I got
So
to help
what were
him.
you thinking was going on at the time?
I don't know. I wasn't sure what it was. He wasn't a druggie. He wasn't. We all Olympic athletes overall are normally pretty clean people. Like we,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
even when I thought I had diabetes, it didn't make sense. Like I eat clean. Like why? How could I get diabetes? Like
Right.
it's not a genetic issue. Like no. Like so. Eventually, I got the word that he went to his family's factory, and he hung himself. Right. And like for me, I felt so guilty, or I felt responsible. Because I didn't do anything. Like I had opportunity to step in. Mental health is my thing. That's I was here. I'm being put here for that. Like that's all I've ever done in my life. Just help
Sure.
people with stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Um, did you make the connection? So this was a teammate of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the behaviors at the time that you guys were competing were obviously very different than what is happening kind of in that moment of
Yeah.
not being able to really communicate. Gibberish. Was anybody else in his life noticing these changes?
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to his family since then. We've kind of, if they have questions or something, if I need to vent, we kind
Yeah,
of got each other on speed dial. What we did at one point.
sure. Did
Yeah.
he see any doctors? Was
Yeah.
anything picked up on?
Yeah. He was seeing doctors here and there. He was having problems, and like everybody in the community over there knew it, and they saw it.
Okay.
But once again, we're isolated athletes. We don't really keep up with each other like that, and
Sure, sure.
like yeah. And so I didn't know.
Okay, okay.
All I know is I got to save my buddy, and I didn't do that, you know. But also when they did his autopsy, he was in stage 4 of CTE,
Okay.
and so once I heard that, like I knew that first of all I couldn't help him, and then I realized like when I called myself helping him, I was living on the floor of my own apartment. I couldn't get up off the floor, and I didn't know how bad off that I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really didn't even forgive myself until I was able to get some help and then kind of connect the dots. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So not only are you living with kind of this physical trauma, but kind of this emotional trauma and not really being able to connect the two or grieve even really the loss of your friend and your
I think
teammate.
I grieved a lot. I grieve. I probably grieve more about that than I probably anything in my life. Yeah.
Right, right.
So yeah.
Um, okay, so I want to define CTE for people who don't know. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. So brain swelling, basically, from repeated traumas. Um, so let me then talk about, so you lose your friend to suicide, who then we find out is stage 4 CTE. Um, what is kind of the next step? When did you get the autopsy results? And then when did you say, oh my gosh, what if this is me?
There was no what if. Once my
You
girlfriend
knew.
once she pointed, I knew because now I
Okay.
can't deny. I could because before like I got to the point where I couldn't like I had a buddy who writes for Warner Brothers and stuff, and we had some products that we wrote together. It was at some of the studios. So writing is my thing. That's what I do. I read a lot, write a lot.
Yeah.
But when I was reading stuff, like I got to the point where I couldn't read very well, and I couldn't do simple math in my head anymore. So I wasn't able to process what was going on. Like
Okay.
it's just like you might as well be speaking to me in German because I wouldn't hear you. So once the brain goes there, like it's a shut off.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And this
every
is
day,
all from chronic swelling.
yeah. Because I tell you what, the other side effects that I started with random cloudy days. Like they were so stretched out. Like it was
Right.
here, one over there, but over time it went from random cloudy days to random days of clarity, and so that's what happened to me. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So do you then seek a diagnosis, what does that look like? Because obviously you self-diagnosed, because your teammate, this was not the only suicide.
No, there's numerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And actually, it's not just here. It's going on all around the world. All the Olympic athletes. It's not just American.
so what are we looking at here? When did you notice that this was kind of a more widespread issue? When did you start looking into how prevalent it was?
Well, when I was trying to, once I figured out what was wrong with Pablo, it took me down a rabbit hole. And I
Mm-hmm.
started, when I had days where I was clear enough where I could process stuff, I was online researching and
Yeah.
trying to find, really, because what I was doing, I was diagnosing every symptom that showed up. I would diagnose that thing and just treat it, just try to treat it,
Yeah.
you know. And I realized there was athletes all around the world. There were stories up. There's videos and documentaries, and I was like, where was this stuff when I was racing, before I started this sport, or when I was struggling, or before all these suicides? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there was no one talking.
So obviously, kind of one of the bigger questions, you have a very extreme action of taking your life because of this extreme trauma. But we've also seen, and there's speculation out there, certain cases um, of extreme violence as
Yeah,
well. Um, and you had mentioned kind of early on that there are suspected links to certain shootings in recent news connected to CTE.
yeah.
Um, how prevalent what are we talking about here? Like, how prevalent are we talking?
Well, this is what I usually put things back to myself. Like, I try not to just exaggerate or go too far with stuff.
Sure.
But one thing I was dealing with, like we spoke about, like I didn't have energy to get up. So part of my treatment for myself was every night before bed, I began to drink. I put like a thermos of coffee
Mm-hmm.
or Coca-Cola. I put it on my nightstand because in the morning when I kind of start waking up a little bit, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't get out of bed until 3 o'clock because I just couldn't get up.
Just no energy. Okay.
Yeah, so I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was diabetes and stuff like that. Um, and then once I did wake up, my routine was crazy. I already know I didn't know what the day really was. I couldn't tell a Sunday from a Friday. So I had a little book and I look at the calendar, a little daily planner, and then I'll pick out the day. And then I had to figure out what month we're in. It was always either January or August. So you're kind of stuck in a loop. And so when you get stuck in that loop, my loop was telling me, you can't live like this much longer. It's time to go.
Right.
Die. It's like it's on loop, like all day long. Suicide, die, take yourself, get out of here. It's time. But for me being a counselor, I've taught hundreds of people. I had a little technique I taught. And it was like, if today is Monday and you feel suicidal, I would say, okay, if today's a great day to take my life, tomorrow will be a good day too. So now I get to Tuesday, I'm still feeling crappy. I want to, suicide is on my brain again. And I tell myself again, like, if it's today's a good day to die, tomorrow will be a good day. And so I just kept moving that day every day. And
Mm-hmm.
so these things I taught other people, it's like it was kind of on cruise control for me.
Right.
And I also saw how it affected other families, and I didn't want to leave that trauma on my family.
Right.
So I made a deal with God, and I was like, I won't take my life. I cannot, but you can take me. You can, this is your thing. You can come get me now.
Right.
Like I said, my time here is done. It's nothing else. I'm a bump on the log at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's time to go. And yeah, and every day I woke up, I was just so disappointed. So disappointed.
That you woke up?
Oh yeah, I was just like some day I was, man. We said what we say in the South, I was hotter than fish grease. Like, I wanted to go, man. Like, just why would you leave me here to suffer like this? Like, I
Right.
didn't. Yeah.
So you think that leads other people, like some people, to suicide and other people to violence?
Yes. So check it. Look, I put a video out on the day there was a guy. He went to the New York office and he shot those people up. He left a CTE suicide note. Did you see that one?
Was it the NFL office?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty recent. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a social media account on TikTok called One Man with a Chamber. I just teach people how to live with CTE symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to find people's loved ones so they can help protect them, because
Right.
when you're in that mode, you really can't protect yourself. You're just not going to You don't know what you're doing. You can't process what's going on. So I made a post because my phone was going crazy and my social media. So I made a video and I said, guys, I know we're seeing our athletes do this stuff. I said, but that's not the population that I fear the most. The population we need to help more is our veterans, because they're now in the military. They're coming back with the same condition that we have, and now they're the best trained killers in the world.
Right.
You know, and so for me, when my brain was stuck on like take yourself out, take yourself out. Now, if you're on the military side, you might be thinking, kill, kill, kill. Okay, who's the enemy? You know, and so I believe that's why we're starting to see so many of it. We can actually connect the dots to some of these mass shootings. Yeah. So I made that video. The next day, I actually had court, and I spoke to the judge about it. And on the courthouse steps, I said the same thing. Like, you guys can go and check the video. I said, there's going to be a wave of mass military shootings coming. We have to get ahead of this thing. So the following, really like 4 or 5 days later, the veteran went to the place in Montana. He shot that bar up. The next one, the guy went on a military base and shot up some of his people. And then 2 Sundays ago, I think it was 2 Sundays ago, a guy went into a place in Minnesota, I believe. It was a Mormon church. He burned part of it.
Yeah.
And he went on the other side and started shooting. So when they stopped him, there were still bodies and people missing because he burned up the other part of the church. So that's what we're dealing with. And
so your idea is, or your thought process is to check, not to jump to the conclusion that this is a CTE related incident, but to investigate whether or not this is why people are kind of performing these random acts of violence, or seemingly random acts of violence.
I don't believe that they're as random as you believe they are.
Sure.
Because a lot of these same soldiers that we're talking about, the ones that aren't killing other people, they're killing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot more here that, you know, that we just really aren't looking at the whole picture. Just like with us, people ask me, didn't you wear a helmet? And I usually start laughing because I'll be like, yeah, that's what I thought too, you know, but now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So let's get to the court case, because you did have a lawsuit against Team USA. Is that correct?
It's still going.
Okay, it's ongoing. So to the point that you can speak about it, speak just a little bit.
I can speak of anything. It's public record.
Perfect.
And
I saw some news articles. I think there was a New York Times article that was written about it. I pulled this one from Sports Law Expert. There were some major news outlets that did pick it up. So how did this come about? When did you say, look, this is going to be my mission moving forward, is to help athletes and veterans with CTE?
After the last suicide, I hadn't picked up on.
Was that another teammate?
The last suicide was a teammate. It was the one we were just talking about.
Okay.
When he took his life, once I knew what this was, and I started talking to my other teammates, and I shared that article with them the same way someone shared it with me.
Yeah.
And most people said the same thing. You know what? They said all the symptoms miss me, and then they'll just keep talking because we haven't talked in a while, and all of a sudden they're telling me these bizarre things about their life, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I told them the same thing. I said, take that article, share it with your loved ones.
Yeah.
And then if y'all feel the need to call me back, call me back.
Right.
And I did that. And then I had so many calls coming in. And I was like, okay, it's not just me. It's not like 4 or 5 of us. It's every athlete I spoke to and every athlete they spoke to. And so it's not very random.
Right.
And so when it comes to the military guys, if you're around the compression blast and the things that make the brain swell, I think we should treat them automatically, whether they're showing the symptoms or not, because it's slow, it's progressive, and it sneaks up on you. I was at the 10-year point from my first concussion, before the real symptoms kicked in. So I'm way away from this sport, like by years.
And so then chronic swelling over what you potentially think could be like a decade.
I don't even know it's about swelling, or what I believe happens is that when you damage part of your brain or any part of your body, usually it sends a bunch of fluid there, blood there, and then it blocks other things from coming there, so it protects itself.
Right.
And I believe that's what happens with the concussions and, you know, those G-force exposure, whatever it may be, is where it's the brain trying to protect itself. And I believe that's why when I went through treatment, I woke up so quick. Like I was in treatment for less than an hour. Well, about an hour.
Yeah.
And it took my cloudiness away. Like, what? You know, I've been here suffering for 20 years, and all I had to do was get in this chamber for 1 hour. It didn't make sense to me. Like, why is no one talking about this?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about again, since you mentioned treatment, let's go ahead and jump into the things that you started doing to try to help yourself. And where did you even start?
Oh, by the way, the last part, the court case is still going. And please, guys, follow this case. This is a huge case. Even though the media has done a great job of kind of like sweeping it under, any big article about us, like they did an article with HBO Real Sports, has been erased from the internet, from TV. You can go, you can find a spot where it's supposed to be, but it's not there anymore. You can't find it.
So why do you think that is? What are they telling you as far as why this won't be picked up anywhere, or why it's
It was shown.
wiped?
It was shown, but after a while, it disappeared.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you probably can figure it out pretty easy. I don't want to throw all the conspiracies out there, but
hey, there's a lot of those these days. You might as well.
Yeah. Also, when I was racing, we took these guys down. They were fighter pilots because they pull the same type of G forces as us.
Yeah.
So we took them down a bobsled ride, and on that particular day, I remember I did 6 rides because we did those little. We took the VIP guys down, and when we took them down, like they pull the same G forces like us, and so when we took them down, we got out the sled. They were kind of shook up, and that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So that New York Times article also tells us like someone tested the track in Canada, and there were spikes of 84.5 Gs where military pilots pull 12 to 15 max. And then they have pressure equipment and suits to keep them from blacking out. Bob says we don't get that. And they told us we're only pulling 5. We now know it's 84.5. And so that's also some of the reasons. But also, the article just came out last December. If you look it up, I could probably send it to you because if you go,
I'll absolutely link it if you send it to me. Sure.
I'll send you the real link because when the article came out, it was there. You can read it. It was also scrubbed from the net.
Okay.
So I personally got it from the person who wrote it. He sent me an active link. So, but if you go and look for it, it's gone. So,
what publication? What publication was
this?
It
Was also in New York Times.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll send you an active link because I do have one from the actual person who wrote the article. But yeah, these things that are coming out, they're showing the connection with G forces, bobsledding, the pilots. They scrub them from the net. They just want this information to go away. And
yeah, I think we could probably speculate on why. So part of your suing is that you want protection, you want treatment. What is the purpose?
Well, when I filed the case, I never asked for anything for myself. First of all, I was cloudy. I was so far gone. I hadn't found anything that helped yet. And like, I didn't ask for anything for myself. I said, I always told my lawyers, take care of myself. I mean, take care of my guys. I was planning on being out here. I didn't want to be here anymore. So
you were still thinking suicide at this point. You wanted to open this up to help other athletes and veterans, but you were already you were still thinking I'm done.
My brain still says suicide. You know, that's not how this thing works. Yeah. Okay. I'll never act on it. I'll never act on it.
So this is a fight for the rest of your life, you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and the other thing I asked them for, you know, it was just, like I said, warning the other athletes before. Everything I did was preventive stuff and help the people you already harmed. I never said, give me $1 million, give me right. I didn't do any of that. I didn't say, let me destroy the sport. I was hoping they were going to come to the table and be like, we didn't see how bad this thing was going and we didn't connect the dots. The same as you didn't connect the dots until you were so far ago. I was hoping they were going to come and say that, but
so transparency is what you're asking for here, and a little bit of
That's exactly what I told the judge. Judge, this case is about transparency,
right?
And I said, the only thing I said is non-negotiable is warning those athletes.
Sure. So they can make the decision. I think any athlete these days walking into a high impact sport, for the most part, knows what they're walking into, especially, like I said, in football and hockey and, you know, these more visibly impactful
sports.
Yeah.
Bobsled, not so much. Not so
Yeah.
much. So if a bobsledder, so somebody who's being recruited like you were, who knows nothing about the sport, had no idea what you were walking into.
Yeah.
Are you asking that the organization does some sort of study or anything
Yes.
like that? Okay.
The study, that's mandatory. You need to do this study, and you got to protect them athletes. It's these people's children you got in your hands. You know.
Sure. So
Yeah.
similar to, like you said, the fighter pilots that have some sort of at least somewhat protection on, we need to kind of reevaluate what kind of protection bobsledders use.
Well, they have protection, but guess what? They have the same identical problems. It's the G forces.
Yeah.
We cannot. A brain is not equipped to deal with those type of G forces.
Okay.
We have to change the sport. We have to take the G forces out of the sport.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. If you go down your street, you're in your car. Everybody's been 90 miles an hour in a car before. So imagine you going 90 miles an hour and you get up to a it's four-way stoplights, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to make a right-hand turn. Or let's say left-hand turn. Let's make a left.
You
So
have to
you're
slow
going,
down to do that.
but you can't touch the brakes. That's cheating. No, you got to go 90 miles an hour and go to that light. You got the green light. You got the right of way. Make that turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you're doing to the bike. Like all the blood leaves the head and just pushes and goes everywhere else.
So now we know why they're scrubbing it.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't. We don't want to change the sport.
You have to.
Yeah,
That's the only
yeah.
way to do it is to, you know, like there was they every track gets a little bit more technical, which means more turns, which means more G forces. Like
Right.
there was a guy who died at the track at the Whistler Olympics,
Yeah.
like from Georgia. Like some of these smaller countries, they don't get to race all the time. So they
Sure.
had like the Jamaicans came out. When they came out, they inspired the what's that team? British, no, Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
America, Samoa, and there was a couple other little island teams out there now.
Yeah.
They don't race every year. They show up at Olympic time only. So those are the people that's really gonna probably get the big wipeouts.
Right.
But the other countries who get the constant trips down there are the ones that's gonna suffer from the micro concussions, I believe.
Sure. Okay. So let's talk about treatment then. Where did you start? Where are we on kind of the public information for treatments for CTEs at this point? You know, I haven't read a whole lot of science on it, just a little bit. I don't think at this point there's a ton of awareness. I remember, gosh, was it a film or a documentary or something on the scientist that kind of discovered the CTE, did some autopsies on athletes, you know, post mortem. And I don't even remember how this athlete passed, but again, I should have brushed up on that just a little bit. But
Was it the movie Concussion?
it could have
With Will
been.
Smith?
It's been a
Yeah.
while ago. It's been a while. Um, but where are we in the science, and where are we in the treatments?
From what I understand, from my experience, there is no treatment out here being offered. As a matter of fact, my primary doctor uh, gave me two references for two different neurologists.
Mm-hmm.
So the neurologist call you to set the appointment once he gets approval. And they'll say, oh, they call me to set the appointment. They say, okay, what's the problem? And so I tell them. I even have the articles. So now, instead of them checking my blood now, they need to start checking my brain, you know?
Yeah.
So they always tell me the same thing. They said, we can't help you here, find a specialist. So I really haven't even had proper treatment. Most people can't find proper treatment. And like when I was, before when I was running treatment facilities and companies, and I had great insurance. Now I have the worst of the worst insurance. So now I have insurance. I can't go out the network and find this person or that person. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no treatment.
I did very early, like it's been years ago now. One of the very first podcasts I ever recorded, it was probably maybe in the first 5 episodes. I interviewed someone who worked at a neuroscience center, and they were doing brain mapping and all of that. I am going to see if I can find that resource and see if there's any resources maybe I can pull up. Because brain scanning, brain mapping, all of that, I think is coming to the forefront. I don't know if it's quite as prevalent as maybe it needs to be, but there might be some resources out there that I can maybe tap into. If I find them, I will definitely send them to you.
Yeah,
Um,
appreciate it.
so what have you tried up to this point? Okay, so we've established there's no official treatment. What
Yeah.
kind of things have you tried on your own that maybe have helped alleviate some of your symptoms?
Well, the ones that helped, we shouldn't even discuss them then because none of it helped.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, matter of fact, but I'll tell you this: if you have one of your loved ones and they deal with concussion and this type of issue, be careful with antidepressants. Because for
Sure.
me,
I mean, there's
it
a,
reversed it. It made things worse and worse and worse and worse.
you know, that's taboo to say, right?
I tell the truth. Like for me,
No, I say that in jest because
I
the
know, yeah,
very
yeah,
first side effect on those SSRIs is suicidal ideation. And if you were
yeah,
already having suicidal ideation, that's probably not the first place I would start.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the only one the doctor prescribed for me.
Hmm.
Now there were some other things I did to try to treat the symptoms, like caffeine. You know,
Yeah.
they say make sure your test levels are high, so I went and tried that. Didn't do anything. None of
Right.
that stuff worked. Well, when I used the hyperbaric chamber with the test, it was different.
Okay.
But then my
So
levels went up like,
hyperbaric, when did that kind of come into your consciousness of, okay, maybe I'll try hyperbaric? And tell me a little bit about that.
man, I just found the video I made when I was in that chamber.
Hmm.
I didn't even remember making it, but I just found it about a week ago. It's so dark. Like I'm in that chamber, I'm saying like this is the last result, guys. There's nothing else. If this don't work,
Oh.
it's And I didn't think it would work, to be honest, because nothing else that I researched will work. And remember, this is just me doing my own research. There
Hmm.
was not a doctor who told me to go get in a hyperbaric chamber. But Joe Namath, he put out some videos, and on them videos, he said it reversed his symptoms.
Really?
Well, he didn't tell us what his symptoms were, and he didn't tell us, he didn't give us any detail, no details. But I was like,
So
okay,
Joe Namath has been vocal about CTE and his symptoms.
he's the only reason I'm still alive today. Like, yeah, he saved my butt, man. That guy.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't expect it to work, and so I got in this chamber. And when I got out, like usually I wear my glasses are slightly tinted because I'm sensitive to lights and smells and
Yeah.
sounds now.
Sure.
So when I got out of that chamber and I grabbed my glasses, I kept putting them on, taking them off. And then the salesman came over. Was like, "Hey, what's wrong?"
Hmm.
And I said, "I don't think I need my glasses." And he was like, "Oh, you're one of those." And I was like, "Okay, finna try to sell me this $25,000 machine. I just bought a house. I can't afford this thing."
Right.
That's what my brain is telling me. But he was right. Some people get like immediate relief,
Hmm.
and some people need like 50 to 60 treatments within like 30 days, like 2 a day,
Okay.
to get relief. And for me, like when I got out of that chamber, like everything, I was looking around, everything was so pretty and beautiful. And the colors were so vivid. Like I don't think I was seeing colors for a while. I'm not sure about that, but I don't think I had been seeing colors.
So you were literally seeing the world differently.
My God, yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what does the hyperbaric chamber do? How do you think it alleviates some of the symptoms? What are the modalities behind that?
Well, the way it's explained to me, it's like it makes your body believe it's 7 to 9 feet underwater.
Hmm.
So your blood is more like a gas. And that gas can go through all the blockages and get wherever it needs to go.
Okay.
So, like a lot of doctors now, if you have cancer, before you start chemo or all that stuff, they'll put you through hyperbarics. Maybe depending on what medicine you take, they'll have you doing it through the treatment. And when you get done, for sure.
Okay.
So, like they said, I guess most of the bad things in our body don't like oxygen.
Okay.
So this oxygenates all the cells in your body. And so,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. All right. So where your cells are starving, you kind of reoxygenate them and then you
yeah,
saw almost immediate results. So
immediately. Yeah, it
how
was
often do
immediate.
you use it now?
Well, I have one in my back room now, but
Hmm.
I started out with like 5 days a week,
Okay.
and then eventually I subside. And I'll just get in there maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week.
Sure.
But
So what are
but
your days like now? So this has helped alleviate. It obviously hasn't resolved the issue. You did say that this is something that you plan or that you suspect you will live with for a very long time. and fight with for a very long time. Um, how do your days look different, and has it alleviated it enough to where living day to day is not as taxing as it was before?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but you kind of start to look at first of all, the treatment. There's so many people that get permanent treatment. I mean, permanent relief.
Mm-hmm.
Me, if I go like 30 days without it, I'll start to feel a little bit off a little bit. I have to make sure I pop back in for my maintenance stuff.
Yeah.
But most people, they're getting permanent relief, and I'm really hoping that maybe eventually I will be there. Or they said if I use I have the lower pressure chambers.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first did the research, it said the lower pressure chambers are better for the mental health stuff.
Okay.
But other people who use the higher pressure chamber say it's different. Once you get there, it should reverse everything. And I just haven't tried that one per se yet.
Okay.
So that'll be the next step. And so maybe it will make it a permanent for me, but maybe it won't. I don't know.
Okay.
But if this is the lifestyle I have to live now compared to where I was at, it's night and day. Like I said before, all day long, everything that's on your brain is about death. It's just death. Yeah, and it's brutal. It's brutal. If I ever go back there, like I don't understand. Like I don't know how I survived that. To be very honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's tough. So okay, we've got kind of the hyperbaric modality. How do you anchor yourself, like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, because that's a constant fight?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like this. You do what you have to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, and for me, like prayer and things like that's always been a part of my life.
Sure.
And matter of fact, I'm connecting dots now that I hadn't connected in a long time. When I opened my treatment facility for youth, that they lived in my program. I was right across I was on about a half a mile away from Brigham Young University down there in South Provo.
Mm-hmm.
Like these kids, like I'm thinking now, like I wasn't more than 10 years older than a lot of these people who called me dad. They didn't have, and I was like, I did what?
Mm-hmm.
I was a baby doing these things. I'm looking at my own kids now, like they're 20s. Like what? I was doing what at that age?
Yeah.
But I've always been here to help and to help other people. I've always been a servant, so that's what I call it. And
right.
And that's what really helps me through. Like I know, like I have people that come on my TikTok channel, and I'm only there to help them get their loved ones through this thing.
Right.
Every time I get that message, oh my God, they're doing better. They're thank you. First of all, I tell them all the same thing. Hey, look, I didn't develop this. I got it from Joe Namath. So always, I try to give him all the credit for everything. Like I couldn't even say his name for a long time without getting choked up because like I hadn't seen the beauty of anything in so many years. And I lost a lot of great people in my life because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you feel like Joe Namath helped save your life?
No, that dude said it was two people. Matthew Furterman, the guy who wrote Sledhead, because he put he put that warning flag up.
All right. I will link that. I will absolutely link that article if you send it to me.
Yep. So it was Matthew, then Joe, and then my dad, because he's the one who actually wound up buying the chamber for me when I needed it.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what dads are good for, man. They want to do anything to take care of you. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So aside from the lawsuit that again is still kind of ongoing, that you're hoping to get awareness or treatment or something out of for these athletes, you're also raising money for athletes and veterans with CTE. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so part of your advocacy. Let's talk about that just a little bit.
Well, that's really the whole thing. Like, I just want to get the equipment, and I want to treat these people for free. And people always say, why free? Like people really reaching out, like, let's open this up together. Let's do a business. I'm like, absolutely not. We have to do it for free. The treatment is so expensive. Like if you just say you're one of those people that what if you need 60 sessions within 30 days and it's $200 an hour?
Right.
Like, are you going to be able to afford that? And most of us can't, because like me, when I was running big companies, I could afford that. Now I'm not running companies because I don't have the same processing skills to be out there doing that. So I know I
Sure.
shouldn't be there anymore. I was the guy, like, if there was a riot in youth corrections, I'm the one that went in and put the fires out. You know,
Yeah.
I can't speak fast enough anymore to process things, and I would just I'd be a problem. I wouldn't be who I should be there helping people.
Sure.
That's the sweet side of it. But I understand where I'm at.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I so forgot your question.
No, we were
That's
talking
another thing I
about
deal
we were
with.
talking about raising money and you wanting to do it to
Yeah,
be able
yeah,
to help treat these people for free because
yeah.
it is a very expensive tool.
Yeah, then also for me, I went through the chamber the first time for free. It removed my cloudiness for 6 days. They allowed me to come back the following week. I went
Yeah.
back to it was like a Friday. I was clear for 9 days, man. No clouds at all. Like I'm just like loving life for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, now my only thing I can do is buy this chamber. I didn't have $20,000 laying around. I had just bought a home in the Midwest for myself, which
Right.
really was my death house. I was going there because I was getting lost in my own community. I'm laying on the floor
Yeah.
of my apartment in LA. I got to get home, get somewhere safe.
Right.
And so, yeah, but
Okay. So you have a GoFundMe. I am going to again link it in the show notes.
yeah,
If anybody wants to or feels called to contribute, that is your mission. You've turned your pain into your purpose. Your mission is to be able to help people who are suffering from the same injuries that you have suffered from, that have taken the lives of multiple of your friends and teammates.
yeah.
Um,
And our poor
and
military guys.
not just here, but everywhere.
Yeah, and our poor military. I found out they have the same issue, which is the same treatment,
Sure.
and they're coming back at a much higher rate than the athletes. There's so many more of those
Right.
guys. And
Right.
like
That
they
is
said,
an extremely dangerous world to live in.
yeah, we need to help everybody, and it's such a simple treatment. But like I
Yeah.
said, for me, it's not perfect. Like I still have days where I don't feel so good, but
Sure.
I don't have every day that's not so good like I did before. Like I literally lived on the floor,
Yeah.
and yeah. And so
So, what are your relationships like now with just a little bit of hope seeping back into your life?
my relationships with people close to me was always good. I'm always been that middleman on anything that's a conflict. I'm gonna put that fire out for everybody. I've always been that guy.
Yeah.
So I never really had any conflicts with people. But for me, like I met some really beautiful women in my life over my journey. And I
Mm-hmm.
had this thing that was stuck in my head. Like I would tell them, don't fall in love with me. Like, don't, we were happy. I was happy. Like, why would I tell them? And then eventually they leave and I'm like, why'd they leave? Like, because I told you to, you know, I know I told you to leave, but you weren't supposed to leave. I don't understand. Yeah. And so when that brain is not firing, and remember, all this is going on before I understand what this is.
Right.
Now, the
Right.
biggest thing, once that machine kicked on, and I know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Now you learn how to put things in place to protect yourself and to help yourself.
Sure. I think
Yeah.
understanding, obviously, and a little bit of education is a huge piece. And hopefully that's what we did here today.
Yeah.
I hope that by putting this episode out, that anybody who may be dealing with it, at least point them in the right direction. So I
Yeah.
will link all of that information. Definitely keep us posted on how the court case resolves. Hopefully that there's some good news out of that as well. The GoFundMe, all of that,
Yeah.
all of that will be in the show notes. But
Yeah.
add me to that list of people to reach out to if you're ever feeling like overwhelmed. Certainly you're a beacon of hope in these dark places.
This last little part. If you guys are in Los Angeles, please come out. Our next court date is December 17th.
Okay.
Now, this is the truth. My law team is now standing with the defense. They're together working against me. So I'm the lead
What's the
plaintiff.
reason behind that?
They believe that the offer that's on the table is sufficient. All they will do is evaluate the athletes, no treatment.
Okay.
And I asked the judge, what is the point of that? And my lawyers are trying to say, well, this case was only ever about medical monitoring. So I produced at the last court hearing, I put out an email that they sent me, and it says medical monitoring and care for life. They don't want to put any care in the healing part of this thing. They don't want to help us at all.
Okay.
So I'm like, we're not.
So you're not
projects.
done fighting, even if they are.
I don't have a choice. Like they gave me nothing to take back to the people to help us. Like,
Sure.
And so like the last 3 court hearings is really myself versus all these high paid lawyers, including my own. They're together as a team now, which is ridiculous.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, we will keep an eye on that for sure. I have hope that things will get better and better and better for you over the long run, hopefully.
Yeah. How much time do you have? Are you about timed out?
No.
Oh,
You got
I got one more thing for you. You like conspiracies? I got one for you.
Let's
I
hear it.
spoke. Yeah. People think like I have receipts. Everything I said, guys, I have receipts. It's in writing. Once I saw my lawyers trying to send that offer to the courts behind my back, well, not behind my back, hoping that the judge approves it without against my wishes, right?
Okay.
So I showed up to court. Now I'm representing myself. Here, a guy with CTE. I have no right to be representing anybody in court, but like the chamber is kind of waking me up and kind of give me some fight back,
some clarity. Sure.
Yeah. 2 years ago, we wouldn't have this conversation. I couldn't really talk like,
yeah.
But let me go a long time without treatment. I'll go back to her again. It gets a little bit weird. But the last 3 sessions, it's me versus them. And you're Olympic athletes, we all need help, guys. Show up. If you know lawyers, please send them because our lawyers have turned their back on us. Okay. Would you take your kid to a doctor who's not going to treat him? Like,
no.
What's the point? Like,
no.
Yeah. And I don't know what it's going to take. Robert Shapiro, I called his office and I told him what's going on. He said, I think I know what they're probably up to. He said, I'm going to do an investigation. So he did one. He called me. We had exchange emails. He called me again. I get the email. He said, I fired your lead attorney and we're going to get you guys the help you need. He said, we kept your co-counsel. So I got that email. He said he fired him, right? Yeah. So 24 to 48 hours later, I get another email. Hey, Will, look like there's a deal on the table already that's going through. I can't help you unless the judge sides with you. But he was already, somebody said something to him to make him, because he was moonwalking. He was so fired up to help us until he wasn't. And then the judge sided with me. But they still didn't come back and lawyers won't come aboard and help us out. So we're struggling I'm fighting this alone, which is like, I represent 643 athletes right now.
643.
It started at 9 something. So I believe when we get done, it'll be closer to probably double that amount. Because every athlete I've spoken to and every athlete they've spoken to is dealing with the symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I will say an extra prayer. Yeah.
Who's getting to these lawyers and make them change their mind? Like I have no idea. But who would take their kid to a doctor who won't treat them? Like, what's the point? Yeah.
Right. Gosh. Wow, what an amazing story. I appreciate you telling it. Like I said, I will include all of those links in these show notes. Shoot me an email with that news article. I would definitely include that one as well. But I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
You too. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.